Yo, what's going on YouTube, and welcome back to our Minnesota Twins discussion. And in this one, like I said in the last video, we will be talking about whether or not Craig Kimbrel should be traded to the Twins and how he will help the Twins. So obviously this is kind of a stretch. The Minnesota Twins not really in the talks with Kimbrel. He's got his own problems in Boston with his contracts and, being a free agent coming up. So, he's got some of his own problems. So would it be the best idea for Boston to trade Craig Kimbrel away, and would he go to the Twins? The answer is probably not. To be realistic, probably not. The Twins are not going to get Craig Kimbrel. However, he is the kind of player the Twins need. And this is how he would be able to help the Twins if somehow this trade went through. So let's just jump into basically why Minnesota needs somebody like Craig Kimbrel. So here we go. Craig Kimbrel, looking at his stats, is absolutely phenomenal. And, he kind of had a little bit of a rough patch from 2015 to 2016. But in the last 2 years has absolutely lit it up. And even 2016 wasn't that bad. So the Twins used to have Joe Nathan. If you're a Twins fan, you know who Joe Nathan is, one of the greatest closers in Twins history, if not the greatest of all time. Then we moved on to Glenn Perkins. Glenn Perkins used to be a starter, moved into the bullpen, was a pretty good closer up until, 2015 or 16? One of those 2 years. And, the first half of the season went 34 for 34 saves, I think. Was the leader in the major leagues and was absolutely fantastic. Didn't blow a save and hardly let up any runs. Hardly let up any runs, even any hits. The next part of the season, he struggled, absolutely tanked, and it was a scary thought for him to go out on the mound. Every time I saw him, I was like, we could lose. We could lose this game. And at that point in the year, I was like, hey, we should trade for Aroldis Chapman. Never happened. But we ended up sticking with Perkins. It ended up biting us in the butt. As we ended up losing a couple more games that were crucial, and obviously we didn't do well that year. I think that was our playoff run, though. We had a couple, but we never get past the wild card, so it doesn't matter. But Craig Kimbrel is right on those lines of a Joe Nathan and Glenn Perkins when they were both in their prime. I mean, this guy is 30 years old, little bit on the older side, obviously, but he's been in the league for 8 years and he's still dominating. I don't think he'll fall off with the caliber of player he is. So let's just go through his seasons very quickly. He's been in the league since 2010, so this will be his 9th year. And he's been an all-star 7 of those 9 times. He's been in the Cy Young running 5. He's been in the MVP running 3 times. He was the Rookie of the Year. This guy has a resume as a closer. And, besides Kenley Jansen, is that about it? Zach Britton, maybe. He's the best closer in the league. And Aroldis Chapman has struggled a little bit over the past couple of years, but besides those 3 or 4 guys, he's right up there. And, he's a World Series champion now. He did his job in the World Series. So you're looking at this guy who is absolutely dominating in the closing role. And, just look at his, let's continue. He had, in his first season, 1 save. He had 1 save in his first season. But in his 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th years, in 2011 to 2014, he had 46 saves, 42 saves, 50 saves, 47 saves. And again, like I said, he kind of fell off the next 2 years, 39, 31. He had a couple more losses, 2 blown saves in 2015, 6 in 2016, and then he had 35 saves and 42 saves in the last 2 years. So that's great. It doesn't matter. Let's just forget about his ERA for 1 second, but he's getting 50-some saves a year. That's 50 wins because of your closer, or 40 wins because of your closer, even 35 because of one guy shutting it down. His ERA, I said let's forget about it for 1 second, but now let's bring it back. In 2015 and 16, he had an ERA of 2.5 and 3.6 or 3.4. Okay, let's forget about those years. Now let's take the last 2 years. ERA of 1.4 and an ERA of 2.7. I like those numbers a lot. That is what a closer's numbers should be. And, I mean, he is striking out over twice as many batters as he's facing. Like, in the last, 4 years, 3 years again, 95 strikeouts, 87 strikeouts, 126 strikeouts, 96 strikeouts in 50 innings of work, 60 innings of work. That is incredible. That's a 2-to-1 strikeout ratio. And again, he's only allowing about half as many hits. So his strikeouts outweigh his hits by a third. That's crazy. 3 times as many strikeouts as hits. And then the walks are, even better. It's about, last year was 31, but the past 2 years it was 20 and 11. So, again, even better. That's about 8 times more strikeouts than walks. Incredible seasons, and that is the guy we need on the Twins. Again, in the last video, I talked about, do we have a competitive bullpen? The answer right now is probably not, considering only 4 guys are stepping up, and 4 guys are at the level which they probably should be in order to give the Twins a chance. The other 4 or 5 guys, depending on the bullpen, are no-name guys who have not played in the league before or have struggled recently or, just not performed like these other 4 guys have. If we can bring in one guy, specifically in this case, Craig Kimbrel, let's just say we go through the normal game where your pitcher goes 6 innings, you have a setup guy in the 8th and 9th, or 7th and 8th, and then the 9th inning closes out Craig Kimbrel. You're winning 35 games because of him. And if you wanted to put him into my strategy, put him in the 5th or 6th inning, you're not letting guys getting hits in those innings. Take the lead, run into the 7th with it, you got another win. I think it makes a lot of sense to go out and spend some money on a player like Craig Kimbrel. And if he's putting up those numbers consistently every year, it's worth the price. Like I said, we've done well in the past with closers who have performed. Joe Nathan, Glenn Perkins. Fernando Rodney did not perform. I don't ever want to talk about him ever again. But you've got players that have performed and are consistent. We can spend money on them. Like I said in previous videos, the Twins have $30 million in cap space this year. And it's going to be even more next year. Why not take the chance and go spend some money on a really good closer? Again, $30 million, that's way less than they anticipated on spending. We already spent $14 million on Nelson Cruz to help us. Why not go all out and try? I mean, not even all out. We're still $30 million under the cap. Why not go out and buy a nice closer? That way you can for sure compete with Cleveland. Obviously, Cleveland is talking about trading Kluber and Bauer and Cody Allen, which we actually might get. But they're trading their guys away, and they don't have the same team they had the last 2-3 years. Why not go out and buy a closer and make sure they finish last in the division? That's not true. I'm just saying that they would finish not first. So it makes a ton of sense to me to go out and buy some player, in this case, Craig Kimbrel, because of his status and what he's been able to do, obviously, as a World Series champion over the past 2 years, and with the amount of saves that he can basically guarantee. It makes so much sense to go pick him up or give him a chance. If something falls through with Boston, or, we can pick him up for cheap or even trade a guy. I'd be willing to trade Nick Gordon in that case. But that is basically all I got. I know one of you guys suggested making this video. We can have a conversation down in the discussion about more on this topic, but that's exactly what I want to know is from you guys. What do you guys think about this Craig Kimbrel trade? It's not even a trade rumor, but it's just what if it happened, you know? So let me know down in the comments, what do you think? Would it be a great idea to go pick up Kimbrel? Would it, you know, I get that he would be quite a bit of money, but is it worth paying it? You know, how productive would he be? And who should we trade for Kimbrel if we were to throw together a trade? Those are all the questions I want you guys to talk about in the comments below. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe on this video. Come back again in a little while for trade rumors with the Texas Rangers, again affecting the bullpen. We will talk about that in the next one. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.